The Loom Awakens. Maya sat at her desk, the soft hum of the city outside, mixing with the gentle clink of her coffee cup. The apartment was small, the kind of place where everything had its place, except for the little corner by her closet. That's where the old wooden loom sat, forgotten, covered in dust and half hidden behind piles of papers and books. She glanced toward the loom, her fingers hovering over her keyboard as she debated what to write next. A familiar feeling nagged at her, restlessness. She didn't feel lost, exactly, but something was missing. Like a thread that had slipped loose from the fabric of her life. Maya had always been the one to help people. Whether it was organizing events for friends or offering advice at work, she had a knack for solving problems. But when it came to her own life, she felt strangely disconnected. Her passion? A whisper she couldn't quite hear. Her purpose? A riddle without an answer. She turned back to the loom, its dark wood and the strands of thread hanging from it drawing her in. There was something magnetic about it, an inexplainable pull. Maya had never used it, never really understood it. It had been an antique, passed down through generations, something her grandmother had kept in the family. But Maya had never given it much thought. Until now. She stood, crossing the room toward the loom, her steps slow and hesitant, the threads hung limp and unassuming in the dim light. As her fingers brushed against the fine strands, a spark of warmth shot through her hand, making her gasp. The loom shimmered, a soft glow emanating from the threads as they twisted and turned, shifting like an unseen current. Maya froze, her heart racing as the room seemed to pulse with a strange energy. The threads began to vibrate, the faintest hum filling the air like the loom was alive. Okay, this is new, Maya muttered to herself, stepping back. That's when it happened. A figure materialized beside her, tall and ethereal, his eyes a piercing shade of blue. Maya blinked, certain she was dreaming. The man didn't look like he belonged in her apartment. He was dressed in flowing dark robes, his hair messy, as though the very air around him was charged with electricity. His presence was calm, but there was something unnerving about him, like he was both there and not there at the same time. You're real? Maya stammered, her eyes wide. The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he regarded Loom with quiet contemplation. His voice, when it came, was calm, but carried an underlying weight. You're the one, he said, as if speaking to himself. Maya swallowed. The one for what? The figure finally turned to her, his expression unreadable. The loom has chosen you. Maya blinked again, trying to process what he was saying. The loom? Chosen me for what? He smiled faintly, though it was more of a knowing look than anything comforting. You can see the threads, Maya. You always could. Now you must learn to untangle them. She took a cautious step back, her hand instinctively moving to the edge of the decks. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see threads. And I definitely don't know how to untangle them. The man's eyes softened, though the mystery behind them never wavered. You may not know it yet, but you are connected to this world in ways most people can't fathom. The threads of faith, the lives of those around you, they are all tied together. And you, Maya, have the ability to change the course of those lives. Maya shook her head, struggling to make sense of his words. I think you have the wrong person. I'm not some fate weaver or whatever you're talking about. I'm a consultant, a problem solver. The man's lips twitched as if he was suppressing a smile. You solve problems, yes, but not like this. The Loom will guide you. It has been waiting for you. Before Maya could say anything more, the Loom seemed to vibrate with a renewed intensity. The threads moved, swirling and tangling before her eyes. And then, one by one, the threads formed clear images, flashes of people, faces, moments, lives. Maya stumbled back, her heart pounding. The images seemed to glow, almost beckoning her, but she couldn't make sense of them. Who are they? What does this mean? She demanded, her voice trembling. The figure, Eli, nodded slowly, his eyes never leaving the Loom. These are the people whose lives you will touch. Their fates are tied to yours. You will help them find their way, untangling the knots they've tied. Some will resist, some will never understand, but in the end, your role is to guide them, just as you have always guided others. Maya's mind raced. I don't know if I can do this. What if I make it worse? Eli turned to face her fully, his expression unreadable. The Loom will show you the way. Trust it, and trust yourself. A long silence hung between them. The weight of his words settled on her shoulders, heavier than she had anticipated. She had spent her whole life helping people solve problems, but this felt different, bigger, more complicated. As the Loom's glow faded and the threads returned to their dormant state, Maya finally exhaled, her fingers tracing the edge of the wooden frame. I don't even know where to start. Ella's eyes twinkled, as though he had been waiting for her to say that. It starts now, Maya. You will begin by listening. The threads will speak to you. The first talk is already before you. Maya turned her attention back to the Loom, the hum of his energy still reverberating in the air. She didn't know what lay ahead, or why she had been chosen for this impossible sounding role. But one thing was clear. Her life had changed in a way she couldn't ignore. With a deep breath, Maya took the first step forward. The Loom wasn't just a relic, it was life, and it was calling her to unravel the threads of faith.